Welcome to your mindfulness challenge. What I'm going to go through now is really running through with you what to expect as you move through the challenge. As you go into this, there is going to potentially be resistance. There is going to be voices that say, I'm too busy. I don't have time for this. I can't do this. I'm not doing this properly. And really putting these expectations that there is a perfect way of doing mindfulness and presence. Now, some of you may come into this and you've been practicing mindfulness, presence for a really long time. If that's the case, I'm going to encourage you to up-level what you're doing already, to add in these little doses that we have through the challenge, and maybe come up with some exciting new creative ways that you can elevate them. For those of you that have never touched on this before, it is something brand new, then know that I'm here to support every step of the way. I was working with a general manager just this week around his mindfulness and his meditation practice, and we've been doing it regularly to start building up that muscle. After the meditation, I could tell he came out really disappointed, and I said, "Tell me what's gone on." And he said, "I couldn't focus. My mind was everywhere. I was rushing and there was just no way I could be present with your voice." And I said, "What if there was a message in that lack of focus? What was going on?" And he shared that there was a million to-do list items that he was thinking about. There was all this stuff that was building pressure. And so what we got him to do was write down a list of all the things that he'd been thinking about in that activity, plan them and schedule in for the next 2 days. Sometimes when we pause, we realize what is creating the stress for us. And in that moment, there is no ideal mindfulness. Obviously, we want the intention of staying with the 3 minutes with these activities, but that is for you to start to understand that we have so much stress in our lives day to day, and this stress is creating excess pressure in our nervous system. For some of you, when you go to pause, you might get excessive thoughts. Some of you might start to feel very emotional. Some of you might start to feel pain or tiredness or twitching in your body. All that's happening is that the energy, the stress like particles, is wanting to release out of your nervous system. So there is no right or wrong way of doing this in terms of if you are pausing for 3 minutes and focusing on these activities or 21 minutes with the focused task, you are doing the task. It is going to take practice to build these neural pathways because we are in a society that desires you to run a million miles an hour, to keep going, to push, to try, to force. And we're asking you for 3 minutes throughout the day to stop, to pause, to slow down, and to become present. Now, all the health benefits are in the document around this, but most importantly, I'm going to invite you to feel into which ones have you feeling elevated in your energy? Which ones do you enjoy, and which ones could you actually add in as a continual practice to build this muscle, knowing that at the end of the 7 days, you're going to have experienced different ones, but ideally where we want this to go is that it becomes an everyday practice for you, so that you are really creating brand new neural pathways in your brain to focus, to clarity, and to knowing that slowing down, putting your mind in that positive brain state actually elevates your productivity and your brain performance, which is going to support you to get things done more quickly. As you go through this 7-day challenge, just become the observer to notice what resistance rises. Sometimes I've remembered in times I've had reminders in my calendar of activities to do, of breathing and things to do daily. And as soon as they pop up, there's the thought of, I don't have time for this. Become aware of what that conversation is for you and simply challenge it as a part of this to say, I want to practice being present. I want to practice being focused, knowing that as you allow more energy to flow through you, you will have more energy to do the things that you love. You'll be feeling more free in your body, in your role day to day, and it will have this ripple effect on all your relationships, on how you communicate, and most importantly, how you're feeling physically, emotionally, and mentally at the same time too. As you go through this challenge, you will be moving through the learning ladder. As you move through it, you're going to start, if this is brand new to you, at that place of unconscious incompetence, which means that you don't even know what you don't know about mindfulness, about these techniques that we're talking about, and you are unaware of this. So then as you move through the challenge and you start practicing different stages of it, you are going to move into this place of conscious incompetence, which means that you become aware of what it is that you don't know. You become aware of the thoughts that are stopping you from doing the things that you want to do with presence. You become aware of your resistance to stopping, to pausing, to slowing down, to doing these moments of nothing. And then you become aware of them every single time you do it. Where we then want to move to in the challenge is that we get to conscious competence. You're aware of these skills. You really start to feel the difference. You start to embed them day to day in what you're doing, but they are still a practice. They are still something that is scheduled into your day. Then, the more you build that muscle, the more the neural pathways connect in with this new way of being and this new learning, you then will move into unconscious competence. It's like driving a car, and if you think back to when you learnt to drive a car, in the beginning, you had to be so focused and so present on what you were doing, and now probably you can drive without even thinking about it. It is going to be the same with mindfulness and presence. As you move through these activities, it'll get to the point that they become you. You become present. You become more mindful with your conversations, with how you're eating, with tasks throughout the day, and it literally becomes effortless to be mindful. However, we're moving through these layers knowing that we are taught to stay distracted, to look outside of ourselves and to run a million miles an hour. So we're encouraging this new way of learning and these new behaviours that are going to take a little bit of time. So as you move through this challenge, I'm going to encourage you to be kind with yourself, to celebrate the successes when you do have them, and to really allow yourself to let go of any moments where you don't do the activity and then come back and reschedule it throughout the day. If you need any support along the way, I have so many tips and tools, and I just love to see the behaviour change in this, which often requires a little bit of support. So let me know any feedback, any questions, and just wishing you an amazing challenge.